Once, upon an endless night, I dreamed of telling you a story, of pleading you a tale out of my breath and carving it into your flesh with my hair. And since this story would be my last, I wanted it to be a perfect story, not perfect in execution, but perfect only in intent. The stories my mother told were always too frightening for us. She always worried, my mother did, that I would remember too much. I worry, I do for you, that you will forget. Forget nights of women with wings of flames who want to draw me out of my bed and make me into a star. A lovely thing to be a star, but stars, they are too far from us, like New York to Port-au-Prince. Nights of garipot, 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 or three-legged horses riding at full speed to either snatch or rescue children who had lost their way. Lost their way from where, you ask? From their country, I say. And what of the children who had no way to lose? And what of the children who had no country? Then the three-legged horses would not want them, I say, because what comes easy nobody wants. What comes too easy does not make legends. Nobody is ever outright handed a pot of gold where we come from. We must cross forests, oceans, unearth the tail end of rainbows. We must find our hair out of window panes and sleep 100 years. And what if that sleeping beauty never awakens with her secret? In our legends, we are beautiful first, then a charmed vision comes to claim us. We go off to the enchanted land, then we found out that the vision had only borrowed its face. Still, we are not foolish enough to lie 100 years in wait. Even if they say we are zombies, even if they say we have powers that keep the dead beneath the ground. And what was that child, that sleeping beauty, if not a zombie? And what is it that gave her the freedom from the sleeping sickness? It is not the taste of salt on the prince's lips. Let no one tell you that it was the man's breath itself. Everyone knows, or mama knows, that it was the salt. It is always the salt that wakes the dead and frightens away the three-legged horses and brings the children home. Once, while peddling at a sewing machine under a fan, blowing dust balls into my face in a crowded castle called a sweatshop, I dreamed of telling you a story. Not like the stories my father told of land invasions and foreign masters, of the Makuts and their timid eyes, which they hid behind red X-ray glasses. In my childhood, the Makuts were legends, breeders of night soil who came with their knapsack for children who did not do as they were told. In your childhood, the Makuts were soldiers, transformed by the fears of a madman whose own mother must have told him to listen in the night for the machete scraping the palmetto so he might stay inside. A man who may have watched as the Marines had come to our shores, and as if the consternation of our nights were not deformed enough, now there are breeders of night soil to frighten the adults too, gunboats to replace the knapsacks, bullets to succeed the machetes, and your grandfather who died in a chain gang, chiseling a song with his fist. Tandim, tandim, konem, konem, tandim, tandim. Listen, we know that we must not sleep 100 years and wait for them to come and kiss our lips. Their kisses are not always gentle. They kiss you with their boots here. And when you awaken, then what? Then what? Kisa? Then what? And this is why these stories I dream for you are more yours than mine. One day there might be some time to ponder these questions from some office castle or some university tower or some public plaza. Do not forget the three-legged horses. Do not forget the night women in their wings. Do not forget the children lost to the night stars. Do not forget those who have left behind. My mother's favorite story, an ancient one, 100 years ancient, of a French general, once master of the colony, a general who gave a massive ball for all the colored women of the colony, whose husband had been called away. It was the first ball that anyone knew, New Orleans style, where so many colored women came, curious by the general sudden interest of their joy. At midnight, the dancing stops, and the French general comes, and soldiers dressed in cassocks part a red velvet curtain and chant a mass for the dead. Liberame Domine, liberano Domine. And behind the red velvet curtain are rows and rows of coffins, and the French general names them each one by one to tell the women, "Regard, you thought you had been dancing the solo minuet when really you were dancing all this time with your dead men." Perhaps we've all been in the coffins with these men and in the silencing dust with these women, sleeping away our 100 years of shame, waiting for the salt. Once, while cradling someone else's child in my arms, standing at a kitchen stove, stirring a soup for the child's hunger, I dreamed of telling you a story that rains with salt. I am telling you to open your mouth and catch as much of the salt as you can, and the salt will sizzle on your tongue, and suddenly you understand why your mother is across the waters, and suddenly you understand why we have crossed these waters, but not the truly endless waters, just the tiny sea, and why this is not the first sea, nor the only sea that we have ever crossed, and why in the mirror you see your face, and in the night you hear your own voice. Saint Rose de Lima, please pray for us. Now I am frightened that you will no longer know your mother's voice, and this is why I tried to carve all these stories into your dreams, so that you will not be deceived by birds and wolves. Once, at least once, each night before I put my head to rest, I dream of telling you a story. Not certain if you will know how to discern my voice in a place so far from home. I tell you the story, not knowing if you stay silent or if you will sing it back to me. But I have no choice but to tell you this and all my other stories. They are all I know. They are all I have. Thank you.